Well, as I prepare for the next tutorial, and of course, I just finished up a knit one, so I, of course, wanted to do a crochet tutorial, and which will give me a chance to share with you this new book that I came across. Well, first of all, I was over at Joann's, and originally I saw this book on Amazon at the same time that I bought this book, 750 Knit Stitches, the Ultimate Knit Stitch Bible. This one was just coming out, or at least I saw it on Amazon, and I didn't get it at the time. I don't know why. I probably should have, but it worked out even better because I later came across this book at Joann's. And of course, I got to use my 50 or 60% coupon, which made it even better. So I thought before I start the next tutorial, the next crochet tutorial, I'm going to backtrack a little bit and just kind of share with you my great find. So, but first, I hope you enjoyed the road trip that my friend Karen and I went on out to our local perimeter center. It was just a small show, but it was fun. I thought it was going to be a little larger, but it was still a lot of fun. And of course, on the way back, we stopped at the Castone Cottage, you know, my favorite knit shop. And Karen bought yarn, and we were helping pick her out some yarn, you know, and she was making a shawl because they're for an upcoming trip. Well, I bought this Zoe Aaron's soft cotton linen blend, and of course, at the time I bought it, in fact, they even, if you bought the yarn, you got a free pattern, which was like a shawl. But once I got home and I looked at it, and I thought, you know, it's small, but wouldn't that crochet up beautiful? So I bought 2 skeins, and I thought, I think I will simply save it and do it in a tutorial on down the road. But I wanted you to see the yarn that I got at the yarn shop when we finished our trip, our road trip. And then, of course, at Joann's, some time ago, a few months back, they decided to bring in some new yarn to give it a try. This is Australian Superfine Merino yarn. It's by Cleckheaton, and like I said, it's from Australia. It's very beautiful. They have lots of beautiful colors. I don't really see the name. I'm sure there might be a name on here somewhere, but it's 100% wool. And I thought, you know what? When I bought it, I intended to knit. But I'm thinking this would also crochet up beautiful too. And I have 3 skeins of this. Of course, I bought it with my coupons. So, anyway, I have a lot of projects to think about, to come up with, and so this was the perfect time to share with you my new book, 500 Crochet Stitches, the Ultimate Crochet Stitch Bible. Isn't that beautiful? Well, let's get into our book and let me show you, you know, what I found. Well, first of all, it's just really beautiful. The pictures right up front are just bright and inviting, and it's just very nice, and just like the knitting book, since they're by the same company, so they're pretty much set up the same. And they have, like I said, great pictures and beautiful, as you get into it, you'll see beautiful illustrations. And, of course, it starts out with a nice introduction. And it's just, you know, your standard type information. Nothing spectacular. But it does say this book is divided into 3 main sections. Okay, the first covers basic crochet stitches, with emphasis here on texture. And we show the combination of basic stitches can be used to make a huge variety of different crochet fabrics featuring shells, chevron, puff stitches, trailer stitches, hoop stitches, among others. The second section focuses on motifs. Now, I'm not really a motif crocheter. I just never did get into it. Even when I was doing Afghans, I don't know, it just wasn't something, but I know a lot of you are. And the only time I'd probably use a motif if I wanted to make something, maybe take one and make it into a beautiful dishcloth, you know, use it and expand on it and maybe make it into a beautiful, you know, dishcloth or face cloth or washcloth, something like that, spar cloth. You know, then I might look into the motif section. The third section covers edgings and trims, ranging from simple cords and braids to more elaborate ruffles and frills. Crochet trims can be used to decorate a plain knit or a crochet item. Now, and that's what we try to use. That's what we use it. And as we go on, of course, it covers your standard basic illustrations and going through the different crochet stitches. And if you're new to crocheting now, you know, this is great and it makes the book look really nice. But in today's world of instant gratification, still pictures just cannot take the place of the YouTube, where you can go and watch someone actually show you. Like in one of my videos, I actually demonstrate the Solomon knot, or you know, how to do an actual stitch. And the YouTube is just full of people showing you how to do stitches. So this is just to make the book look good, I guess. But in today's world, people really want to see it. And then it just, like I say, it goes into all the other stitch variations and just shows you. But as we start to get into the actual stitches, let's see here. There was something else I thought. Oh, yes, I did want to glance over this. Okay, the stitch diagram. Of course, you need to familiarize yourself if you're new, because this is going to be your guide to working your stitches and reading the pattern, the symbols and what they represent. And then you can always go back and see how to do it. Or, like I say, if still pictures, you know, if you're a beginner and that it just does not make it clear, then you can always simply go on the YouTube, look up how to do a half double crochet cluster. How do I do a popcorn stitch? You see? You can just simply go and watch someone demonstrate it, and you'll have a clear idea of how it's done. But as we get into the book itself, so can I move some of this? Okay. Has beautiful, nice pictures. Like I said, it's very simple. This is a beginner-friendly book. I don't really know the reason, except they wanted to make a set. You know, this wouldn't be something that an advanced person may want to even put in their library because it's very basic. But like I say, if you're new, or like me, you just like to collect things, or you like to have a set, or it just looks pretty, you know. I had the coupon, so I didn't pay hardly anything because I got it at Joann's. Then this is a great book to have, you know. But it is a nice beginner-friendly user book. Now, one thing I noticed here, they have blocks of color, and in these blocks, they'll give a tip. It says, if you are new to crochet, you will find it a relatively beginner-friendly craft, as there is generally only one stitch on the hook. Mistakes can be easily unraveled and the stitch worked again. And I think that's why so many people love crochet, because of the simple, you can just make a mistake, just pull it back. Where knitting, not so fast. But as you can see, these are just very basic stitches here. We're just going to flip through some. Like I say, I did not find anything to like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like that before. But to a beginner, it could open a door of ideas. And as we go through, like I say, you can see the charts. I think are very clear. I can follow them. I think, you know, beginner may not want the charts, but as you can see, look how beautiful and simple the written stitches, how it's written out. There is one little thing on here, though, that did throw me, even as a experienced crocheter. You know how when you're making your stitch and it gives you the multiple, you know, we've into that now. If you're going to work out of stitch books, and as I've gone over every pattern I do, I go over the multiples. Not so much in crochet. My method is a little different, but when you're reading it out of the book, it does go over, tells you how many multiples in order to create something with this stitch. But then in a lot of the stitches in parentheses, it will say add 1 for the base chain, which can, or kind of threw me off at first. I'm thinking, add 1, is that multiple of 4 plus 1? Or is it, you know, why didn't they just say multiple of 4 plus 1? But that was a distinction, and it's mainly for the base chain. But the way I do, you know, the way when I'm crocheting, as much as possible, and where, you know, I try to pick things that where I can just make a long chain, and I don't have a problem with counting chains or making a mistake counting chains, and then you have to start over, pulling it out, starting over. I didn't have enough. So that could throw you, that in parentheses, and I see that on just about every pattern. Like I said, it threw me a little bit at first until I kind of tried to research it and look it up. But there's some beautiful stitches that, like I say, you've seen every place in most books. Open shell and picot stitch, very pretty. Picot ridge stitch, like I said, very basic, but to a beginner. There's the Solomon's knot stitch. Nice, like I said, again, charts. I think they're pretty clear. The crow's foot lattice, really nice. We're going to do that stitch eventually. Okay, one, like I said, I'm just flipping through, just kind of give you an idea, because there's nothing in here to go, ooh, you know. Like I said, every once in a while they'll give you a tip in this color block so you can see. It says, think about how the stitch sample would look worked in a different weight of yarn. Aha, that's good, because, you know, I like to work in different weights. On the pictures, on my pictures, when I opened the video, I showed your regular weight yarn, your medium weight, but I also threw in there some, I know a lot of you like thread weight yarn. And of course, the yarns that I just shared with you are closer to the yarn weight, are closer than, you know, your regular medium weight yarns. So it says, just think about how it would look in different weights of yarn. With the flame stitch above, oh, here's the flame stitch. Oh, isn't that pretty? I'm going to see if I can pull that up. It says, with the flame stitch above, the cotton yarn is crisp enough to show the intricate detail of the pattern. However, there is enough space in this design that it could also look effective in a thicker yarn, such as DK weight merino. So right off the bat, look. All of a sudden, look, I can see this stitch in this yarn. Isn't that pretty? I don't know what I'd make yet, but, you know, hey, one thing at a time. But I love that little idea of giving you some clues to a good way to use the stitch. And of course, the fan and V-stitch. Just very simple stitches that you've seen in lots of other books. So, but I just love looking, don't you? Triple picot V-stitch. Oh, I love that stitch. That's a beautiful stitch. And the next section is, like I say, is the motifs. which I am not a big motif user, but, or do I work a lot? But for instance, I could take this and do the motif just for fun, and then add another color and make it into a beautiful, maybe just a decorative dishcloth to go along with something that I was going to give to someone. I've done that. I've done like someone was have a bridal shower, and I bought beautiful, beautiful, luscious towels from like Macy's or, you know, an upscale store. And then I sat down and actually crocheted or knitted, but used this, you know, to match the towel. Of course, I gave them like white, so this would be white. And then maybe put white around it to make it large enough, you know, and big enough that they could actually use. And this would be the decorative face cloth to go along with the store-bought towels. It is really pretty. It was really pretty, and the idea really pops when you open the box and you have these on top. You may have to do 3 or 4 of them to, you know, in the center, and have the towels all rolled pretty with big, beautiful, luscious ribbons. Oh, I'm going to do that for you. I have some towels that I bought from Tuesday morning, so we'll have to work that in. I don't know when now. I've got so much planned. But that's the only thing that I use motifs for. But it does have a large section in here. And if that's what you like, then beautiful, beautiful. Samples are just beautiful. 5 branches. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Ah. Now some of these I have not seen. Like I said, because I don't look that much at them. But as we get on back to the, now we're getting into edging and trims. Now, of course, I always like to look at edgings because I like to add them. If you did my Helping Hand shawl, I went through the process of showing you how to add the edging or you know, onto something. And I found this edging that I would love to do on a project. It is called Cluster, I hope it's on camera, Cluster Diamonds. And it's worked lengthwise. That means worked up. So I could easily work this on the edge of a shawl as the shawl goes up one side, around the neck, like we did before, across the back, and then down the opposite side. So isn't that a pretty pattern? So that's one for that goes on the list for Jay and you. But for this book, I wanted to share it with you. If you see it, like I say, it is on Amazon if you don't have a Joann's near you and you can't use a coupon. But it is a nice book, especially if you're a beginner. It's beginner friendly. It is beautiful. It makes a pretty statement in your library. Well, let me show you what I chose though for the tutorial. Okay, book number 2 in this book review. It's one that I have used several times already, and I can pretty much tell you I will be using this book over and over and over. This book is not only beginner friendly, but it's for beginners. It's a book that I definitely believe you need to put into your stitch library so that you will always have a place to advance to. You don't have to look any further than this book. It is just a wonderful, beautiful written book. I love it, I love it, I love it. And of course, advanced crocheters, there's a lot to cover in this book for you too. So, the name of this book, first of all, it is the Big Book of Crochet Stitches. Like I said, I have used it before on some of the projects I've had. It's 350 stitches, fabulous fans, pretty picots, clever clusters, and a whole lot more from Jean Linehauser and Rita Weiss. And I want to read something before we start. And it says, this is on the back of the book, and it says about the author. This book honors the memory of Jean Linehauser, legendary in the crafting industry. Jean was co-owner of the Creative Partners, a needlework publishing company with Rita Weiss. And as you know, she is no longer with us, but of course, her many patterns live on for us to enjoy and share. So, now, like I said, I've used this book before, but I wanted to do it and do a review on it because it is one of my favorites, and you will see it often. All right, as we open the book, and of course, I'm going to come back later to Rita Weiss. Rita Weiss, she's like one of my favorites, but she's got a whole nother collection of books that I'll do her in another one. Today it's more about Jean Linehauser in this book. Okay, so the first thing when I started looking through the book, you know, get my ideas of what I was going to talk about in this book. And honestly, it is just right up in your face. A great introduction to who Jean Linehauser was. It says, my co-author and late friend, Jean Linehauser, loved everything about crochet. But most of all, I think she loved the stitches that were used to create her projects. She collected them like some people collect antiques. Whenever she saw a photograph of a crochet project, especially those designed overseas, she was more fascinated with the stitches used than the design itself. And it didn't take her long before she had completely figured out how to make the stitch. And that's just what I love about stitch books. That I can look at a stitch and practice it, and then I can make a project that the stitch will fit into, or that helps me to show the stitch off. Not just a swatch, but a whole project. Some people, she loves making swatches. I love making projects. And it's great. The patterns will look different depending on the yarns you choose. Experiment and have fun. That's the purpose of this book. Then she goes into the multiples, which we have done not only in our knitting books, but it says each stitch pattern starts with a multiple, given like this. Chain a multiple of, say, 6 plus 4. That means every repeat of the patterns, you need 6 chains. And at the end of the total count, you'd add a plus 4. Just like we have been doing, and even in the knitting. All right, in this book, I like that after she kind of gives a simple abbreviation, she really, like I say, it is in your face, ready to go. She starts out, it's in categories. And if you look along let's see if this is color coded. Yes, it is. Along the top edge of this book, like for instance, she starts out with the baubles, and she goes into, look how pretty the patterns are written up. I really like this book, the way, you might think, well, Jay, they're all pretty much written the same way. No, sometimes you can look at some and they just like, oh man, I got to really sit here and concentrate. This one I can look at and decide, and they're simple and they're clean, and I like that. And the swatches are very nice, very, very nice. Every stitch you want to, it draws you in. Now, I may never get to all the stitches, but at least I'm tempted. And I hope you are too. And when you get your book, you'll be like oohing and ahhing too. So, here's chevrons. And like I said, stitch after stitch, and we've used quite a few. You can see I have tabs over here of maybe some that we have used and some that we are going to use. And I went ahead and marked them. Maybe I read through it and I decided this is a great pattern. Here's slanted clusters. I think is a great pattern. And there's only a 2-row repeat. Of course, you know, I try to keep it simple. So I try to find things that I can, you know, share easily in a project. Let's go back. Let's see. There was something else. Let's see. Okay. Of course, there is multicolor stitches. I'm not a big multicolor stitcher, but you know, you never say never. You know, it just depends on what pops into my head to make with it. Look at that ripple lace. That is pretty. Let's see what else there is in here. Like I said, I don't, you know, it's hard to go over every stitch because there's just so many. Look at the swatches. They're just beautiful. Here's a very simple lattice. Chain a multiple of 3 plus 1. There's only 1 row repeat. Isn't that nice? Look how nice and easy that is. Clovers, that's nice. I believe this is the one that, yes, that I did, I believe the Solomon knot came out of this book when I did my little vest when I was doing the Solomon knot. But what I'm looking for is the next tutorial that I'm working on, ta-da, will be this. And of course, I'll show it to you again when we do the project. Will be this stitch called Floral Medley. Chain a multiple of 7 plus 1. And we will be just simply doing the shell stitch and a lot of chains and a 2-row repeat, and it is absolutely beautiful. So this is one, like you say, if you're going to have a library, if you're going to go into, yes, it is the one that I did Solomon knot because I see it right here. I remember now. Yep. If you're going to have a library, if you're going to really start trying to or continue to work in stitch books, this is definitely one because, like I said, I will be doing a lot of projects from this book. I just cannot wait to see what else. And like I said, the big book of crochet stitches, it is well worth it. We will work from it from beginners to intermediate and advanced. You will not be bored. So, like I say, I will be using it and showing you the stitch again when we do the tutorial coming up. Well, all right. One more little something I'd like to share with you before I end this video. So, let's get to that. Okay. The next book or books that I like to share on this crochet stitch book tutorial or stitch book review is The Complete Photo Guide to Crochet by Margaret Huber. More than 400 large format color photos. And no, you're not seeing double. I bought this book at Joann's 2 or 3 years ago. And then the next year, or sometime after, I was in the store and I thought, well, don't I have this book? Do I have this book? And then this was what caught my eye. It says, second edition, The Complete Photo Guide to Crochet, all new projects, 20 new stitch patterns by Margaret Huber, more than 400 color photos. So naturally, I grabbed it up too, thinking, oh my gosh, because, once I didn't have this book with me, and it said all new, so I picked it up. And when I got home, it's pretty much the same book. But I am still giving it 2 thumbs up and adding it to my crochet stitch book review. And now I'll tell you why. All right, let's start with the first one that I actually came across a few years back. Like I said, Joann's, and I used my coupon. I'll put it here, make sure I'm on camera. Okay, it's a very nice book. Right off the bat, I love it. I love big old thick books. See how large this book is? Look, boom. So, because I'm always thinking, oh, there's going to be so much stuff in here, so much, so I love the bigger the book, the better, just like my other books and like the first book I shared with you. Okay, so it says, all you need to know to crochet, and the essential reference for novice and expert crocheters. I'm sure a lot of you have this book by now. So, that you may not even know about the second book. So I bought this book, and just going through the book, it's very nice. Right up front, like I said, I love large books, and I love beautiful pictures in the books. And right off the bat, the pictures caught my eye, very inviting, easy to read, easy on the eye. I'm trying to make sure I'm on camera. Easy on the eye, nice setup. Also has a great introduction to crochet, and Margaret signs off on it. Not personally, but stamped. But that was kind of a nice touch, don't you think? A lot of people don't do that. And, but as I went through, now this is the first book now. This is when I first got the first book. I was so excited, As I started going through the book, she had a lot of people that she gives thanks in the book because they added their expertise along with hers. And in one section here, they have a beautiful section on history of crocheting. And they really take you back to about 1800s as far as they were able to, I guess, backtrack. And give you some great information for those that like to know the background, the story, the history. Has a beautiful history on crocheting. Okay, the art of crocheting. And beautiful pictures of some beautiful lace work. And like I say, more than just a couple of paragraphs, several pages, so I can't read them. But great photos. Then there's another section that one of the other ladies that helped her on this book, she tells the story of this beautiful, beautiful, intricate lace and the story behind this lace, and just in great detail. And where you might be able to find some, or I think there's a museum that houses a lot of this beautiful lace, and where you could, learn more about it. So that's in here. And I thought that was very good. Then you got your crochet basics. All your information, all your different simple stitches, beautiful pictures. In fact, great pictures to look at. She's got some FYI information. Like I said, in today's world, though, beautiful pictures are beautiful, but that's all they are. Nothing can replace now that you can go on YouTube and someone somewhere in the world never sleeps. Someone's crocheting and they want to show you a stitch. So nothing can take the place of this new modern world. But these are some beautiful pictures to see, so you can see what the end stitch looks like. Very nice. Big, large, bright. I love that. Very pretty. Then, of course, she has her crochet instructions, abbreviations. Very nice, very well thought out. She also has a small key for the U.S. and for U.S. crocheters and for the UK crocheters. She doesn't go into a lot, but she did kind of add a little bit of information for the UK crocheters. But these are very, I mean, I like the abbreviations. They're simple to understand. She, you know, a FP and then a small SC, front post single crochet. A FP, small TR, front post triple crochet. And just very nice and to the point, very clean and easy to look. This will be something you maybe sometimes, like I say, if I'm going to crochet somewhere, I don't like to take my book, especially if I'm going to shops. You'll be surprised how people look at you at shops. They always think, oh, is that our book? No. So if I'm going somewhere to crochet or where other people have their books, I will simply just make a copy of this in case I needed it for reference. And just a black and white for myself to, if I was working on a certain project and maybe I couldn't remember all the abbreviations. So I do not like to carry my books places. Then that takes the temptation of people saying, oh, I'd like to borrow your book. No. I know Jay. Look, Jay is into sharing to a point. Okay. Make sure I'm on camera here. All right, let's see. Maybe I need to tip the camera just. All right. So now, oh, the next thing is reading symbols. And she has a beautiful symbol chart here. I've seen larger ones and bigger ones, more advanced ones. But I guess these are just the symbols that she's used in her book. So I guess, you know, you don't have to produce one for every crochet pattern. But they're very nice. Now we get into a lot of FYI information. She's got great categories. Invisible joining, if you wanted to join, say, granny squares and details and finishing. Very nice things, like I say. But to look at still pictures, and especially if you're working on something, it's just more efficient to find someone to show you on the YouTube. And nothing against this. This just completes the book. Like I say, the book gets a thumb up from me. All right, stitch patterns. Yay, here we are. Stitch patterns. Let's go through. Now, right off the bat, bam. I love the swatches in this book. In her book, she has, I just love her book. I just love. Oh, you remember, well, maybe you don't, on my first knit stitch book review, you know, she has the knit stitch. She has a knitting book. And it has a nice big swatches just like this. It's done up just as good. So if you didn't see that one, you need to backtrack and go watch that knitting stitch book review. But this is her crochet, Margaret Huber. That's who we're talking about. Okay. And I just love the beautiful swatches. Like I say, this is a beginner-friendly book. Just like her knit book, it's very beginner-friendly. If you're really just trying to, you know, get into it and trying to have some basic charts and look at things, it's very nice. It's a great book, well written, nice and large. I can read it. She starts out simple. The charts are nice and simple to start. But now it does go on. And also this one, I like when this, only because it helps new people. She gives a skill level of, like some books do, beginner, beginner. Let's see if she stuck all the beginners together. Beginner. And then, say the next page, easy. That means I guess you're moving up. Oh, I like that idea. You know, give the beginners a variety of stitches to kind of work on. Let's see, can I turn back? And then as you move up, see, that's double crochet, triple. That's your basic stitches. Then as you move up a little more, it becomes like easy. Single crochet 3 together. Cross double crochet. Oh, that's real pretty. But look at that chart. Look how pretty that chart is. Make sure I'm on. Isn't that pretty? The chart is really sticking out right here. Very easy. You can, I don't think any If you've been crocheting a while, you should be able to understand these symbols. And like I say, she has a great symbols help in front. We've already looked at that. Now, let's go. Oh, so now we move. She is keeping it kind of in groups. All right, now we move from easy, scale level, easy. This is a crosshatch. Isn't that pretty? Man, I would love to do, I'd love to work that. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place with my book. I don't know what's wrong, why I can't seem to focus on my camera here today. But, and then of course, here's the beehive stitch. Now she's given that more intermediate. And let me read, let's see if she gives any tips or anything. No, she just kind of explains what front post double crochet is here, so I guess you don't have to like flip back. If you're like getting started, you can just read it from here. But the charts are nice and big. They're large and they are color coded. I hope that's showing up. There's a row in black, and then the next row is done in blue, then black, then blue, then black. So that really helps, especially for us that, you know, wear glasses or have a problem, you know, trying to see well. Here's a beautiful crochet lace. She says the skill level is easy, and it's mainly double crochets, which I really like. All right, let's move on. Let's see. All right, as we go through the book, I was trying to see, there was something. Of course, it gets more, the stitches become more intricate, and the charts are a little larger. Here's, you get into your shells and picots. Like I say, it's very friendly because it's stitches that you will have recognized from looking at projects or seeing things on the YouTube, and maybe you didn't know where the stitch came from or whatever. So they're very familiar stitches. You know, they're not strange or things that you wouldn't like recognize, or, you know, that's the whole point of the book, is to get you to use the book. So now, here's one I have not used yet, and I am planning to make something. It's diagonal shells. Isn't that pretty? Diagonal shells, and as you can see, she rates this as intermediate, and I think you could say that's intermediate. Okay. And of course, I've used this one several times on different things, maybe not out of her book, but you recognize stitches from all books. I think they're just all, like I say, I don't know why I keep buying stitch books, because once you get some good ones, it's pretty much the same stitch. Okay, now she's got it set up. As we move along, these are some more experienced stitches. The bullion stitch. For people with a little more experience and ready to do more intricate. I've not used that in any garments yet, in any of my sweaters or anything, but you know, I know how to do it, but I've just never found anything I'd want to use it for. So, you know, there's a lot of stitches I just have not, you know, if it's not something I see right away or get a vision of, oh yeah, I can see that, then I may just pass on it and hopefully come back to it another day. Live another day to crochet again. Okay, so I was trying to get to, okay, so then the book is separated. I want to go, so now you see the stitches. They're pretty much, like I said, the same that you can find pretty much anywhere. It's just, I just love the layout. I love the pictures. I love the print. I just love this book. It is one you definitely need in your library. If you see it, if your Joann's doesn't have it, then go online. And Dewdrop. I've been working on that one. Here's the berry stitch. Okay, but now as we go into another category of the book, as we go further, there was, oh, now she does have some projects in this book. But I hardly ever look at the projects because I create my own. I just like the stitch. So for those that need a place, a jumping off point to make things, you know, there's a lot of projects in here. Some are simple and some are a little more advanced, as that nice filet sweater is. And there's some Afghans, but now what I wanted to show you is reverse shell blanket. That's pretty. Okay, so the next section is the motif section. And I'm not a motif maker that much. Like I said, I like to look at them, and maybe if I ever need it, like a flower or something, you know, like that would, to me, would make a beautiful flower. And, or here, some kind of a accessory. Then I would look at my motifs, but just to make them, I'm just not a motif maker. Per se. But, and there's a bag, you know, if you're new and you wanted to, you've seen people make the bags, and like I said, but they have them on the YouTube, so, you know, versus reading all of this and trying to figure it out. If you're new, you know, you might could follow someone on the YouTube, but it's great that she has it in here. But the section I'm trying to get to is edging and trim, because as I'm learning, see, I'm learning along while you're learning. While I'm sharing with you, I'm sharing with my own self. Guess you say, well, Jay, how does that work? I don't know, but I'm sharing with my own self. You know, as I, you know, I'm always open to, you know, trying to improve my, you know, my knowledge, just like you. So edging and trimming and trims, okay, as I make up my designs, especially for wraps and shawls and things, I want to be more proficient on putting edging and trim on my shawls. I am not a fancy or a great crochet lace maker, or you know, I don't do the high-end crochet lace that I see on YouTube. It is just absolutely beautiful. Some sites just are just absolutely gorgeous, especially a lot of the Latin countries that have the beautiful lace. So, hey, you start where you can start, and you add on to the knowledge and go as far as you can. And that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to be an expert. I just want to do it for myself and then turn around and share it to encourage someone else. So I will be, and I am working on a lot of these trims, trying to think of ways to add them to what little knowledge I have now of crocheting to make maybe pretty a shawl, or you know, something like that, a scarf. But anyway, that is this section, and it is just really beautiful. And then she also goes into Tunisian crochet, a lot of other things. She has like I say, there's some a lot of projects. She even does freeform crocheting, which I have not gotten into yet. There's enough just in the front part of the book. So again, this is a big book, and it's wonderful, and I'm glad that I bought it, and it would be a great book to add to your library. Now, book number 2. Book number 2 promises 20 new stitch patterns. It has a little hint of a different cover, is why I thought it was new. But as I got home and went through it, as you can see, now I did check different pages to see if the same pattern was on the same page. Well, they switched up the pages. They didn't put the pattern on the same page, but as you can see, it's pretty much the same book, which kind of annoyed me at first. So I don't know if there was an error, not on Margaret Huber's part. She is just the person, you know how, I don't know if you understand how it works, but you know, it's the publishers, the people that lay out the book. Maybe there was an error, maybe things got left out of the first edition, maybe the first edition they had problems running it and couldn't fit it all in. But to make it like a new book and say there was 20, and I didn't go through and count, maybe there are 20 new stitches. I just did. I'm thinking, oh well, I wind up with, well, now there were some new projects. Like I said, maybe that the first book couldn't, maybe the format or the printing where it was set up could not hold all the projects. That's a new project. So there were a few pictures of some new projects in the book. But but it's pretty much the same book. So if you don't be disappointed if you can't find the second edition. The first edition is great, but so happens I have both. So no, you're not seeing double. But if I had to, if you do find one, if you find the first book, it's fine. You'll know the second because it'll say second edition. That's all I can say. But this is a wonderful series of patterns and stitches and things to add to a library that you are creating if you're a beginner and you really want to have some nice books. And, really get a lot of miles out of the book. But like I say, it's if you're an experienced, this would not be probably what you're looking for. Other than that, a great buy. So, I hope you've enjoyed this. I love this book. Margaret Huber did a great job. There's a lot of information in here, and I'm glad it's worth the money. So, this ends my first crochet book review. I hope you have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it looking through the books and sharing them with you. If you find something new, you can always let me know, or if you have something you want me to review, I will continue to do, because like I said, I have a lot of books. So, but I'll do a few at a time. So, this is Jay. This is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam, and until we meet again, see ya!